Hey, sis. Welcome to Now Woman Rising, the podcast for purpose-driven, faith-filled, family-shifting, legacy-making women who is done playing small. I'm Alicia Hurt, servant leader, wife, mama, and your holistic wellness home girl. Here to walk with you as you rise, heal, break cycles, and shine unapologetically in your God-given purpose. Whether you're trailblazing in your business, praying over your babies, or just trying to drink your water and mind your business, we see you, sis. Here's the truth. You are not alone. This space is sacred and safe. So grab your tea, light your candle, and let's get into this soul talk. Let's rise, let's glow, let's go. Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning into another episode of Now Woman Rising. I have a phenomenal Now Woman here, Miss Charity. Thank you so much for your time. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for your time. Thank you for having me.
Good. So let's jump right in. So tell me, what brought you to this particular journey?
This journey that I'm on right now has been years in the making. It's just been growing over time and changing. I think for me, I guess the launch of me kind of going into what I'm doing now is that I got really sick in 2017. And, it's just kind of been about my journey of healing and what God has done in and through me kind of since then. So that's kind of, the start of where I started. But like I said, it's been kind of a lifelong walk. So.
Okay, well, tell me, what moment in your life made you realize you were called to break generational patterns?
Yeah, I think for me, growing up, my family didn't really communicate very well, and they didn't really talk about emotions or feelings or things like that. And for me, that really stunted a lot of things in me. So when I got sick, I really determined, and even before then, to really have conversations with my kids and really not follow that pattern and go into the deep, communications. And this is how I'm feeling. Diving in deeper. I think as I was healing, like I said, when I got sick in 2017, my daughter was 5, my son was 7, and so there was a lot of trauma that came in that I had to work through in myself, quietly and on my own with me and Jesus, but then also watching the trauma affect my daughter, and really learning to walk her through it and giving her space to ask questions and to, mommy, this is what's going on, or noticing her and noticing her emotional state instead of just kind of, oh, just, put on your big girl pants and just keep going, just, it was like, where's her heart? Is her heart okay? Is her mind okay? Is she well, not just because she's having, this meltdown in front of me, but what's really going on underneath? Because I didn't feel like I got that as a kid. It was much more of a just manage it, just move through it, and so I think that was a big one for me to go, I'm not doing it that way, for me and my family. So that's been a big one.
Yeah. So what lie did you have to unlearn to fully walk in your purpose?
Um, I don't have to earn love. I don't have to earn approval, and I don't have to earn affection. I grew up always trying to earn love, always trying to be good enough, always trying to, get the good grades and do the good thing and be a good girl. And it really produced in me just this overactive people pleasingness. And as I've grown, it's like, you know what? God loves me. He loves me. He loves me. And I don't have to earn it, not for a second. Like he already gave it to me. He gave it to me when he formed the world. And so I think for me, that's been a huge thing for me to overcome and to walk in is I don't have to earn it. I don't have to earn his favor. I don't have to earn his love. I don't have to earn any of that. I just get to rest knowing that it is because it is.
Amen. So
Mm-hmm.
describe a season where God's wait felt like a no. And what did you learn in that in between phase?
Yeah, I was thinking about that question and I remembered a season that we went through. My husband and I were attending a church and it was really controlling and religious and unhealthy. Definitely some weird stuff going on. Um, and we decided that we needed to go somewhere else. And my husband and I have always led worship. And so we naturally went, we went to this other church and we talked to the pastor and we said, hey, we'd love to be on your worship team. And how do we, get involved? And whether, because that was just how we were trained. We were trained to serve. And so my husband and I did an audition, and the worship pastor at the time, he said, "Hey, I could use you for sound," to my husband, and didn't say a word to me at all. Nothing, nothing whatsoever. And I was like, I mean, it hurt so bad, and I was like, God, like I want to serve you. This is my gifting. This is what I have. And he was just like, just love them, love him, love the
Mm.
worship pastor. And I was like, but he hurt me. And he's like, be unoffendable. And I was like, but I'm a worshiper. And so, it was this season of really learning to love beyond the pain and even not ask questions. I never went back to him, which is not my nature. My nature is always like, hey, by the way, let's have a conversation. And I just really felt like God was like, just shh, 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 just let it lie and love them. Their car broke down, so we loaned them one of our cars. Just different things. I was like, I'm gonna love you so hard that my heart cannot be offended. And that waiting season actually healed my heart because had I not had that season, I wouldn't have rediscovered my kingdom creativity. I wouldn't have
Mm.
rediscovered my creative calling, which is what I'm walking in now. And so um, it was really God's way of going, just be quiet. I want you to set that aside for now because I've got work to do in your heart and in your mind. And it's creative work. And you need to have the space and the time to be able to I attended some creative classes that really just awakened and healed my spirit, and I needed it so desperately. And I was able to, work in a ministry of creativity and come alive again. So had I not had that, no, that weight, um, I don't believe that those things would have happened. Now I'm on the worship team, and it's, it is, but it was definitely a wait period that was really painful. It was a couple of years of just, I'm gonna love harder. I'm gonna love harder. I'm gonna love harder. And God is faithful. So
Yes, he is. So,
yeah,
how do you balance being a powerhouse for others while still nurturing yourself?
yeah. I think for me this season, I really decided in my heart. So last year I had kind of tried to step out into building a mentorship program and different things like that online and reaching people, and it just kind of fell apart. And I just got kind of frustrated and sad about it, and I just kind of quit. Um, and this season, I felt God saying, "Hey, it's time again. You need to step up. You need to start building. You need to do these things, but it's not going to be about what that was. It's going to be about creativity and hope and all of this." And one of the first things that He showed me was that I needed to show up for myself and then I could show up for others. So showing up for myself looked like getting my health in order. I started swimming every morning, so showing up for me and um, keeping my commitments to myself, and instead of letting life kind of pull me all over the place, but going, no, I told myself that this is what I'm doing, so I have to show up for me and I have to be faithful to me, because if I can't even be faithful to me, I can't be faithful for other people. I can't lead them well if I can't lead myself. And so showing up, for myself and keeping my commitments and honoring, my commitment to myself is huge in being able to help other people grow too. And part of that is, getting up early enough to read my Bible and study and pray, and getting up early enough to go swimming. It's not a either or. It's okay, God, you're gonna have to sustain me, because if I'm getting up so early, then you've got to sustain me for the day to get all the things done that I've got to get done. So really it's relying on him, and trusting in him to sustain me and get me through. And that's what how I can pour out to other people, is from that overflow of spending time with him and showing up for myself, then I can show up for others.
Yes. So
So
was there ever a moment when you wanted to quit on your dream, your assignment, or even yourself?
many times. Many times. As a child, there was a lot of times that I dealt with deep depression. And so definitely wanted to give up, wanted to just quit, wanted to just be, because striving for that affection, striving for that attention, it's exhausting. It's like, I'm never, ever, ever going to be good enough. So why even exist? And so that has been something that's been in my growing up years. And it's Jesus has healed me a lot from a lot of that, but there are still moments where it tries to get in there. I'm like, nah, that's a lie. I'm not listening to that. But just that depression will start to come, especially after I got sick. Depression just set in really heavily, and it was like, it would have been better if I would have died. I just would have been better if I wouldn't have made it. And it was like, nope, God saved me for a reason. And so, what is that reason? What is that purpose? But yeah, there's definitely tons of times where I just want to give up, but it's like I can't, because I know the goodness of God and I know what he's done in my life, and I know that other people need to know him too, and they need to have that same encounter with him and feel his hope and feel his joy. And so I'm like, I can't quit. I can't quit. Not for myself. I can't quit. I can't quit for my kids. I can't quit for other people. I just have to keep pressing into him and resting in him and moving forward, one moment at a time. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So how has your definition of success changed as you've grown in faith and purpose?
I think growing up, success always looked like, when I get that bigger title, when I get that better job, when I, achieve this, when I have that, success was always about climbing the ladder, achieving a goal, becoming good enough, becoming enough of a person that was worthy of attention, of favor, of affection. And I think for me, success looks like kind of what I was talking about before, is showing up. Is showing up for me is it's success is so quiet for me. It's very quiet. It's a slow, quiet journey of, I showed up and I'm with you, Jesus. And I showed up and I'm with you, Jesus. And success comes from that intimacy with him and that place with him. And it's like, I don't feel like I have to earn some title. I don't have to be seen. I don't have to be known. Will he make me seen? Will he make me known? Of course, as I'm faithful, but that's not the goal. The goal isn't I want to be on this platform and I want to be seen and I want to be heard. It's like, God, I just want to know you. I just want to rest in your presence. I want to know who you are. And that's enough for me. And I want to grow as you lead me, instead of, um, you know, always striving for something. So success looks looks very quiet. It's very intimate with me and him. Um,
So,
yeah.
what does being a now woman mean to you in this season of your life?
I was thinking about this question too. This is a good one. I thought about all the times in my life where kind of like what I've been talking about. It's always been when I have that, when I get this, when I achieve that. And I remember one time I was talking to a mentor and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And I was just spinning my wheels of these future plans and this future that I was building. And I was so frustrated because my present didn't look anything like my future that I was building in my imagination. And I was so frustrated that I felt like my family was kind of in the way of me achieving these things. I'm like, they're just so needy. And and I was just like, and it sounds so awful to say it, but she looked me in the eyes and she goes, Charity, she's like, you have got to slow down and be in the moment that you're in and quit living for a future because you don't know if that future is going to look like that. You don't know what that future is going to actually be, and you need to be able to be present with your family when they're talking to you. Be engaged with them, look them in the face and hear their heart, hear their words, not just brr, 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 like okay, next thing, and constantly on this go 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 striving path. And so learning to be present, learning to be engaged now. Am I still building? Am I still building a future? Of course, but I'm learning to be in the moment that I'm in, and the rest of it will take care of itself. I can be in the moment with my daughter, and the rest of it will happen. It will fall into place. And I can trust God that He's big enough to make that happen for me as I'm moving from that place of rest and intimacy with Him and engagement and being in the present, being in the now. Um, he takes care of the future. It's one of His promises. So I can trust Him in that. So it's really beautiful that I guess that change, that exchange of mindset has been really healing.
Amen. So, can you share a time when obedience to God didn't make sense, but it changed everything?
Yeah, I think going back to the worship leader thing, that was huge obedience for me to love harder, to love and be unoffendable. But it did change everything. It launched me into creativity. It awoke my heart and got me back in touch with the design that God put in me. I as a child, I was like, I'm gonna be a worship leader and I'm gonna be an artist, and so it was like those are my passions. It's always what's been written on my DNA, and I had always shelved my creativity because it wasn't important. It didn't have a place in the church. It didn't have, it didn't fit any molds. It didn't make sense in the church, and so it was like, well, I guess it's kind of just a hobby. It's just, I'll just keep it on the side. But I really pursued worship because it was something I could do to serve, to, bless people and all of that. And so, yeah, it was just, being obedient and sitting down and waiting and not even like, not trying to hint at, hey, I would love to be on the worship team. It was God was like, nope, not a word, not anything. You just love hard and you love well, and you just be where I am. And that it was hard, but it changed everything. It really did transform my heart. It really did transform my mind. And it really did launch me into, like I said, what I'm doing now. Had I not had that, I don't know that I would have been awakened to those things. Maybe eventually, but not as soon.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what legacy are you intentionally building for your family and your future generations?
I think the legacy that I'm building, kind of like I mentioned earlier, is really um, being present and communicating and building that God confidence, building that God identity instead of in my children. And, I always tell my daughter, I'm like, okay, Zoe, so I I learned from my parents what they did right, what they did well, and I, use those things. And I learned what they did not well and what didn't work, and I don't use those things. And so I'm doing my best as a mama to teach you and your brother to, go further and be better. And then you're going to take what I teach you and you're going to make it better, and your kids are going to make it better. And so I feel like my legacy is relationship, is that deep communication, is seeing the person in front of you and really stopping and being present to listen and engage in their heart, engage in their moment, and not just look at the surface of, this meltdown or this tantrum or this attitude, but go, how's your heart? Where are you spiritually, emotionally, mentally, really engaging that? Because I think if we can engage that and really build that identity and that God confidence, we're unstoppable. That all those lies, they can't get in because we know who we are, and we can move forward confidently in our identity in Christ.
So, if you could sit down with your younger self, what would you tell her about the woman she's becoming?
I would tell her to calm down. I would tell her, just rest. You don't have to strive. You don't have to try so hard. You can breathe and you can rest and you can be. And also, you're enough. You're already enough. God made you enough as He created you. When He designed you, He made you perfect. He didn't make any mistakes. He didn't, you weren't an accident. You weren't a side thought. You were intentional. And you can rest in that, knowing that He loves you. He loves you. He loves you. And just breathe, just rest, stop striving and trying, and just embrace who you are. And I was always afraid that the world would reject me if they really knew who I was. So I really dulled down who I was inside. I would, you're too much, you're too loud, you're too this, you're too that. And so I learned to really conform to what I thought people wanted me to be. And so I would tell her, you don't have to conform. You get to just be wild and colorful and lively and enjoy your life and be present. And the ones that don't enjoy it, they're not your people. And that's okay. Not everybody has to love you. Not everybody is going to love you. But that's okay. You don't have to strive for that. And just giving her a big, giant, warm hug and going, just breathe, baby girl. you know, I think that would be the biggest thing. Um,
So, Charity, for those that are like, "Ooh, I need more insight. I want to learn more." Please tell us more about your organization, your products and services, and how we can get in contact with you.
Yeah, of course. My company is Hope Words. It's a ministry business. So um, I do live stream every Wednesday at lunchtime, 11:45 Pacific Standard Time, and it's just a time where I just kind of give a 15-minute whatever God's showing me. So that's on my Facebook page currently, and I'm moving into building some online classes where we're going to go into creativity and activation and healing, kind of walking people through the journey that God walked me through as I was healing from being sick in 2017, and really helping people activate and engage their creativity and encounter Him and the healing and discover their own purpose. So that's kind of what I do. I've done it for 10 years in person, but this year I felt God, saying, launch it online. I want you to reach more people. So I'm in the process of that. I'm going to be launching my Encounter Hope podcast in August. So that's going to be coming up. I'm super excited about that. And yeah, I'm on Instagram at hopewords.charity is my handle on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I'm not very active on TikTok, and then YouTube as well. And that's just hopewords.charity. And on each of those platforms, I have a website. It's www.hopewords.net. And you can find my classes and free resources and more about me and my ministry and go from there.
Thank you so much. And thank you for being a part of our mission to inspire and uplift others. I definitely look forward to conversations in the future. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of Now Woman Rising. Take care for now. Woo! Yes, Lord. That was so good. Sis, if nobody told you today, let me be the first. You are chosen, you are covered, and you are called for such a time as this. Keep standing tall, walking bold, and staying surrendered. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode with your sister circle, and leave a review so we can keep spreading the word for this kingdom vibe. Until next time, this is Alicia Hurt reminding you, you are not alone, and you were never meant to be. Now, woman, rise up and let's go.